Hello, I'm David Miles. Welcome to another episode of Miles of Truth. Thank you for watching. Today I'd like to talk about consequence and what people deserve and the interplay between those. As a disclaimer, once again, I'm not an attorney. None of this is legal to be considered legal advice. This is all for educational purposes only. Okay. So first of all, I'd like to talk about the different types of consequence and their interaction. I think I see a lot of people mix up types of consequence with what a person deserves. So first of all, I'd like to say I'm going to separate it into two basic types of consequence. There are other types of consequence that people can argue that's fine. But what I'm going to talk about are legal consequences and natural consequences. So when you talk about what a person deserves, what I'm going to reference is, legally speaking, what people deserve. Because there's a lot of philosophical and moral judgments on what people deserve based on their various misdeeds, crimes, and whatnot. However, our legal representatives, which we elected, have written into law and into statutes what the potential consequences or what the legal consequences of different actions are based on what, again, they, at the time they're writing the statute, believe that people deserve for violating those laws. And those are what people can be sentenced to. So legally speaking, what a person deserves for their crime or misdeed is what they can be sentenced to. That's what they deserve. You might disagree with it. I very often disagree. I think that child molesters should be able to be subjected to capital punishment. Our elected officials did not agree with that. They have not yet written that into law. So legally speaking, they don't deserve to be unalived. Even if I might personally, and I'm sure many of you personally believe that they deserve to be unalived, legally speaking, they do not deserve it, because that's not a potential sentence that they can give if convicted of their crimes. Okay? So where it gets dicey is legal consequences relate directly to potential sentences that a person can get if convicted and found guilty. Okay? That is legal consequences. Natural consequences have nothing to do with what a person deserves at all. Nothing. A father, good guy, trying to do some work on his house, realizes his ladder isn't quite long enough, so he sets it up. He supports it a little higher by some chairs and some other things lashed together. It's sketchy. It's like at a sketch level 7. He clambers up that. The whole thing collapses and he falls and is unalived. Did he deserve to be unalived? No. He didn't deserve to be unalived simply because he created a sketchy contraption to try to do some work up on the eaves of his house. He didn't deserve it, but that was the natural consequence of what he did. Again, nothing to do with what one deserves. It's natural. Natural consequence also has a level of chance. There's luck. A natural consequence of me going outside and driving to the store could be I get in a traffic accident. That's always, every time I get behind the wheel, a potential natural consequence. That doesn't mean I deserve to get in a traffic accident, but it could happen. It's a natural consequence. Now, the area where this caused a lot of people, I think, to veer away from reality and start to believe things that aren't true is because sometimes natural consequence can come at the hand of it can be enacted by another person. Okay? When natural consequence is enacted by another person, people do often tend to view that as punishment, even though it might not be. Okay? So this is a case of when it comes to self-defense. A lot of people will see a person defends themselves from danger because they're being unlawfully put in danger, in mortal danger, so they defend themselves and causes serious harm or unaliving to the other person in order to defend themselves. That's not a punishment. That's a natural consequence of that other person doing an illegal thing that put people in danger. Okay, a natural consequence when you illegally put someone in peril is that they will determine that the best way to make themselves safe is to use physical force on you. That is consequence. That is not punishment. And that's what gets difficult. That's the case I've seen news articles where a young man or a couple young men will break into someone's house and they've got guns. They're just pew-pews. I keep doing that. I know there's rules. They break into someone's house, or they go into a store planning to rob the place. They have no intention. They're not going to unalive anyone. They're not going to pew-pew. They might not even have the guns loaded. They just want to use them for intimidation to try to steal some things. But somebody there else is armed. They feel like they are in danger and those around them are in mortal peril. So they will pull out their firearm and unalive the assailants. And I have seen these situations where that'll happen. And then you'll see on the news, the mother of one of these assailants, who has just been unalived, crying, saying he didn't deserve to die. He was just trying to get some money he just wanted some stuff. He was just trying to get a little extra money. He didn't deserve to die. In the recent example of a lady that was fleeing law enforcement, accelerated towards an agent and got unalived. A lot of arguments I've seen. She didn't deserve what happened to her. You're right. And the mom of that young man is right. They didn't deserve it. How can we tell, legally speaking? If they had survived the encounter and been arrested and tried and convicted of the various crimes which they committed, none of those crimes would have carried a death penalty. According to the law, according to legal consequence and legally what people deserve, the only two crimes that carry a potential of unaliving is first-degree murder and treason. That's the only two I'm aware of. I mean, maybe somewhere someone's added to that, but that's it. However, there's a lot of other crimes and a lot of other situations where people are authorized to use lethal force to defend themselves. Does that mean that they're enacting the state's punishment on that person? No. But we have a right to life, and therefore we have a right to defend our own life. A consequence of illegally putting others in peril is that they may decide to defend their own life by ending yours. That is consequence. That has nothing to do with what is deserved. As hard as I'm not unsympathetic. As hard as it might be to hear that, that is what it is. It's natural. Self-defense enacted on another person is a natural consequence, not a legal consequence. It's a natural consequence. And natural consequence has nothing to do with what a person deserves, even when it is enacted by the hand of another person. Okay? As always, if you disagree with anything I've said, please put it in the comments. I am always happy to have a nice civil debate and talk about it. Take care. Thank you.